All right, everyone, in this video, we are gonna look at two Highlander Platinums. We've got the 2023 Toyota Highlander Platinum, and then we've got the 2024 Grand Highlander Platinum. This got the hybrid max system. We're gonna take a look first at the 2023 and then shoot over to the 2024. And you guys let me know in the comments below which one you think offers a better value for you, or which one would you go with over the two. For starters, both the Grand Highlander and the non-Grand Highlander Platinum have their own unique alloy wheel. Quite similar, but not quite. This is a beautiful 20-inch alloy wheel. Check out these lovely, unique to the Platinum Grand Highlander Hybrid Max 20-inch alloy wheels that you get. What do you think of the style? Kind of like a two-tone dark gunmetal or black with the polished edges there. Now you do have similar interior features as well, like the heated and ventilated perforated front seats. You also do have on both a heads-up display unit, but here's the thing: when you're going with the Grand Highlander Platinum, you actually have heated and ventilated middle row seats as well. When you're going with this vehicle here, this SUV, the rear seats here are actually only heated, not heated and ventilated. Hopping on the interior here, just a beautifully finished interior. Toyota's really going strong with a lot of this bronze piping and detailing throughout the interior of this Platinum Grand Highlander Hybrid Max. Take a look, and that copper bronze looking finish continues pretty nicely on the entire interior of this grand SUV. Both SUVs do also give you the panoramic moonroof. Now on the Grand Highlander Platinum, you can get that lovely Portobello interior, but I gotta say, I've seen the Portobello in person. Yes, it's beautiful, but this glazed caramel, I'm afraid, you can't touch this interior when it comes to Toyota interiors, especially diving in to the interior here. I mean, look at how that glazed caramel really pops and stands out throughout the entire interior. It's just something that, makes you really enjoy being on the interior of this SUV. All right, so you got 165 millimeter difference in terms of length from this Grand Highlander Max Platinum to the regular non-Grand Highlander. You've got about 50 millimeters more headroom, and then you got about 60 millimeters more width on the vehicle, and you really do feel a lot of that space on the interior, especially in the middle, third row, and in the trunk area, which we'll get to in a second. So this one here, the main difference on one of the features for the middle row is that on the Platinum Grand, they come heated and ventilated. So heated and cooled seats here in the middle, but on the non-Grand, they are just heated in the middle row. And also you got a little bit of a suede accent here on some of the perforated leather, whereas on the non-Grand, it is just all leather, but similar style. Over in front of us here, you've got a lovely 12.3 inch wide digital display, multi-information display system here, or cluster. Houses a lot of your trip information. It gives you a power band to let you know what's happening with your hybrid system, kind of like an indicator. gauge here lets you know when you're in charge, when you're in eco, when you're in power, so when you're heavily accelerating. And then you can even toggle through a lot of your safety equipment when it comes to your included Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. That's right, it does come with the TSS 3.0 on the Grand Highlander. Moving over to the right, you got another large touch screen here with the latest multimedia tech, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, cloud-based navigation, and so on. And yes, it does come with the JBL sound system. Now, this system does also include traffic jam assist, and it does feature a digital key. But check out the actual key fob here. If you can see the similarities, Toyota really didn't miss anything here in terms of detail. You see that color that is around the Grand Highlander border? It's actually matching the interior trim that I was just talking about, that copper bronze look and feel. Very classy Toyota, very classy. All right, starting up this bad boy, and yes, this is not the hybrid version, but still, feature-wise, it's pretty identical to the non-hybrid 23 Highlander Platinum. You've got two 12.3-inch screens. One is this lovely multi-information display system here, which houses your RPM gauge and your speedometer. And then over to the right, you've got another 12.3-inch touch screen here, which houses your latest multimedia with the wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, cloud-based navigation, and more. And of course, they do both have the power memory seats here for the driver, and as well as the JBL sound system. And when you're going over to the rear view mirror, they are both auto dimming with this lovely feature here that everybody loves. This is a digital display rear view mirror. Just with the toggle of this little switch here, activates and deactivates that feature. So you have a 100% clear and unobstructed view of what's going on behind your vehicle as you're driving. And that's not all. All right, now in the hybrid versions here on the Grand Highlander, and specifically this Hybrid Max Platinum, you've got a very similar to a Prius feeling transmission gear shifter here, or gearbox. You've got the power electronic braking system. You've got your different driving modes over here, snow, downhill assist. And look at the space you have here for storage. You've got the capacity here for two very large bottles for cup holders. And then just north of that, you've got another large cavity here. And yes, of course, wireless phone charger built in, plenty more storage off to the left. Of course, it's a push button start. You've got your 360-degree view button monitor here. It gives you another clear, unobstructed view of what's happening around your vehicle. Really neat. You've got some USB ports as well. Of course, it's got the dual zone climate control, heated and ventilated front and rear seats, like I just mentioned. And of course, when it comes to trunk space, you can't really compare much. You do have quite a bit more space on the Grand Highlander equivalent, with a lot of the space from that 165 millimeter length difference happening in the middle, third row, and trunk cargo area. When you have the seating upwards in the non-Grand Toyota Highlander, you are left with just enough space here to fit some cargo or groceries and whatnot, but that space does get quite larger when you're talking about the Grand Highlander. And here you are for the rear third row seat setup. It's doable, but if you're going to be using your third row quite often, you're going to want to probably look at the Grand version of this vehicle. Again, getting in and out of the third row, even the center middle row here, and getting items in and out of your trunk is really where you feel the 165 millimeter length difference, the width difference, the height difference of this Grand Highlander versus the non-Grand. This looks like a generous amount of space to get a decent sized adult in and out of the third row. I mean, for an SUV, you can't really ask for more convenience than that. Toyota does still give you the option of 60-40 split for the third row. And check out the amount of cargo space you have here, or trunk space, once your third row is up. I'm just gonna do away with this carpeted mat here, just to show you. So that is plenty amount of space for bags, a stroller, a luggage, or luggages, I should say. I'm gonna show you what the space is here for the third row passenger. So you can see here, that is plenty more space than the non-Grand Highlanders. So if you are driving, you know, family or anybody that's carpooling with you from day to day, and you're going to be using the third row more often than not, you're definitely going to want to consider a Grand Highlander, whether it's the Platinum or the Limited or XLE over the non-Grand. Adding to the overall Grand feeling, check out the size of these cup holders on both sides of the third row, and each side does have its own USB port. Now, as I mentioned, yes, it's a smart key push button start, but on the Platinum Hybrid Max, you've got the touch key sensors on the front and on the rear passenger doors, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about what's happening underneath the hood. So yes, this is the non-hybrid version of the Highlander Platinum. So it's got a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine, but when you're going with the hybrid equivalent, you get a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine hooked up to an eCVT transmission, giving you about 243 horsepower. Now, when it comes to fuel consumption on the hybrid version of this puppy in front of us, you get about 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers combined city and highway, and that translates to about 42 miles per gallon. But what about with the hybrid Grand Highlander Platinum? What does it look like under the hood for that? Well, under the Grand Highlander Platinum, and that's probably why a lot of customers and viewers would opt for the Grand version of this Highlander SUV. It's because it gives you the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, but it bumps you up to 362 horsepower and 400 pound-foot of torque. Wow. All right, so another reason why you may or may not go for the Grand equivalent of this Toyota Highlander is because of pricing. So the hybrid version of this SUV comes in at an MSRP of about $58,260 Canadian, plus your freight PDI, fees, and taxes. Now, what do we have to say about the Grand version of this Highlander? At $65,450 Canadian MSRP, you're looking at a difference of just over $7,100 Canadian plus taxes between the Highlander Platinum non-Grand and the Grand Highlander Platinum. So what would you do? Now, in terms of performance, how does this 362 horsepower family hybrid SUV, 400 pound-foot of torque vehicle perform? Really good, especially when you use the paddle shifters that are included with it. You definitely feel the difference from the non-hybrid regular 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine to the, you definitely feel the difference when comparing to the non-hybrid Max and the hybrid Max. And, you know, is it worth you spending the extra money to go up to the hybrid Platinum hybrid Max instead of just the Limited or the XLE? Well, that's up to you and your family to decide, but definitely value is definitely there. You do notice and you do feel the performance in this SUV.